Welcome back. Kevin Thomas, BJ Bennett, Matt Osborne here from 3 and Out on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Today we're talking the surprise of the season, guys, and that would have to be Georgia Southern, a transitional school that's moved up into the FBS now, and they went to the Sun Belt Conference, and a lot of folks said, well, you're short scholarships, the transition, a program with a lot of history, but what's it going to be when you're playing Division I teams week in, week out, week in, and week out? Well, here we are with 1 week to go in their regular season, and this weekend, BJ, they're playing for an outright Sun Belt championship. They've already got a share of the tie of the Sun Belt Conference championship, but how impressed are you with this Georgia Southern program, year one in transition, and a chance to outright win the league title?
Yeah, we've talked about it all year. It's been remarkable. You think about all that Georgia Southern has gone through here with the transition. You're jumping up from the FCS level to the FBS level. You're in a scholarship limitation compared to most of the teams you're playing, and you have a first-year head coach in Willie Fritz. And when I think about what Georgia Southern's done this year, the starting point to me is Fritz. And great players, the leadership of this team has been remarkable, but you're replacing a very successful coach in Jeff Monken. And isn't it funny, guys, that at the start of the year the question was Georgia Southern still going to run the football? Are they still going to be able to be effective rushing? Yeah. They lead the nation by a wide margin in rushing, and Georgia Southern's had some just ridiculously incredible ground offenses. This one's right up there with Matt Breida and what Kevin Ellison's done. To me, Willie Fritz, I don't think it's a stretch to mention him, guys, in the National Coach of the Year discussion. Certainly you have the teams that are going to be in the college football playoff, but again, your first year ever, you're going to win the conference, at least a share, maybe outright. You're the nation's best rushing team. You went toe-to-toe with Georgia Tech and NC State. It's been a special year in Georgia Southern, and I think it's a testament to the infrastructure there with the fans, the coaching staff, and the leadership there in Statesboro.
Willie Fritz had his back up against the wall in a number of different ways. You mentioned it's his first year at the school. It's making the transition. It's a new scheme that you're having to implement, but I think also the expectations of the Georgia Southern fan base, which that's a program that's used to making deep runs, winning national championships at the FCS level, and talking to fans before the start of the season, it was, we expect to win. We don't care what level we're at right now. So he was expected to make that transition to a much tougher level where he wasn't going to have the same number of scholarships, where, just to be honest, he wasn't recruiting quite the same caliber of athlete, or he wasn't dealing with the same caliber of athlete as his opponents. And he steps up right away, and there's just no drop-off whatsoever. In fact, he elevates the program to a new level, and I absolutely agree with you. I don't know that he'll win National Coach of the Year, but I think he certainly has to get mentions.
All right, Matt, to follow up on that, since they are in a transitional year, if they win on Saturday, they'll have 9 wins, and they'll be a conference champion. Now, the rules say a transitional team can't go to a bowl game, but there's a chance, if there's not enough bowl-eligible teams, that Georgia Southern could get in. Should they be in regardless? If you're a bowl selection committee from one of these bowls, would you say, hey, I know they're a transitional team, but they won 9 games, they got a large fan base, can we get them into our bowl game?
Well, I think there's 2 different answers, and I hate to do this. One is, should the rule be in place where a team is not allowed to compete for a bowl because they made a transition to a new level? I disagree with that. I think that any team, Georgia Southern making the transition from the FCS to the FBS, if you can go ahead and win right now, I mean, you've overcome obstacles and hurdles to get to where you're at. I think you should be rewarded for that, not hindered and set back. So, absolutely, I think Georgia Southern should be able to play in that regard. However, should the NCAA just bypass its rules and regulations to allow Georgia Southern to play? No, I think if you have the rules in place, you have to stick with them. It's much the same as we talk about players getting paid at the college level. You can disagree with the rule all you want. If you want to change the rule, hey, go for it. But while the rule's still in place, you have to abide by the rule. So for right now, I don't think Georgia Southern should get in.
Let me bring this up, though. If you're talking about not having enough bowl-eligible teams, and you're either going to give a waiver or a pass to a team that has 5 wins, or a Georgia Southern team that has 9 wins, I'd go with the Georgia Southern team over a 5-7 team out of another league. So it's going to be an interesting development. Obviously, a lot has to fall into place, but I think Georgia Southern has definitely played well enough, and they would travel to a bowl game, no doubt, and represent the Sun Belt well.
So Georgia Southern may be the surprise of the year that maybe nationally is not getting a lot of recognition. A transition team, chance to win 9 games, win the outright conference championship. Pretty impressive. I'm Kevin Thomas, Matt Osborne, BJ Bennett, here on SouthernPigskin.com.